Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Youth Central, I'd like to welcome you all to the annual general meeting. My name is Azad Gil, and I'm a current youth volunteer with Youth Central. I'm also a co-chair on the Mayor's Youth Council and a co-chair of the Youth of Distinction Awards Steering Committee. 2020 was a difficult year for us all, as I'm sure you are aware. And I would like to just look back and reflect on what happened. Of course, our lives were put in distraught, but after looking back, I know that I personally grew as a person. I touched into my creative side and found new hobbies that I would have never seen. I also looked around and saw humanity do the same. Humanity became very creative over 2020, whether it be hosting birthday parties and game nights through Zoom, or finding new hobbies for each other and different games and passions. So looking back, 2020 was a year where creativity thrived. Now, people are more than creative than ever, especially when problem solving. Youth Central held a short meeting of its members to pass the traditional motions, so you people don't have to sit through the boring business. The minutes were all approved from last year. The audit was approved. Kramers and Elliott Chartered Accountants have been appointed as the auditors for Youth Central for 2020 and 2021, and several directors have been elected for either 1 or 2-year terms. Now, I would like to introduce Matt Grant, Chair of the Youth Central Board of Directors.
I think probably people can hear me now. I'm not sure. Oh, there we go. You can see video too. Thanks so much for that, Azad. That was a great introduction. I mean, I think it goes without saying, and anytime anybody talks about the year that we just had and the time that we continue to be in right now, it almost sounds trite, or you're prone to different cliches. But it kind of has to go without saying, or maybe it does need to be said, that we're a youth volunteer community organization that tries to find opportunities to connect young people with community organizations. And how do you do that during a pandemic? Those are big challenges. The other component of 2020 that to me was really important was something that happened fairly early in the year and has reverberated and had big impacts and started important conversations throughout the year and into 2021 is the Black Lives and the Indigenous Lives Matter movements. We're an organization that seeks to represent and involve all types of youth in all kinds of different aspects of community, and wrestling with how do you connect young people with their communities during a pandemic. These were all different challenges and important calls to action in 2020, and I'm proud to say that we as an organization, and I mean this, I mean the young volunteers, our amazing staff, our donors, our parents that support our organization, the schools that we work with, the organizations we serve. I think they tackled all these different challenges and opportunities with creativity, with humility, and with a sense of optimism that 2021 could be an important year. We also didn't just survive. I think we thrived, and we put in place a number of important strategic elements that are always critical, but especially critical in a year like 2020 and 2021. We have a new strategic plan that is really focused on eliminating barriers to entry for volunteer opportunities, so that we're creating opportunities and talking to all kinds of different youth, and also creating totally different types of leadership and volunteer opportunities, and really analyzing if we're doing that inclusively. We need to always make sure our operations are strong and that people have a good grasp of who we are as an organization. Are we communicating effectively? What do people think about us? And finally, in this city, in this time, a number of people, companies, donors, families are undergoing a lot of financial hardships, and how we continue to deliver the important services we do in a financially sustainable fashion is also very, very important. And it's just been amazing to see the support we've received from different organizations that realize now's not the time to pull back. Now's the time to lean in and continue to build community. There's a lot that needs to still be done in 2021. We're not out of this pandemic, obviously, and there's a heck of a lot more work to be done. And it never really stops when you're focused on making a more inclusive organization. But I've never been more excited or more convinced that the work that Youth Central does is critical. It's highly important to our community of Calgary, and I'm excited about the vision that we have in place. I want to end by just thanking everybody. I had the opportunity just now to thank some of our board and our staff, but the level of engagement, and especially from the staff and the young volunteers that have continued to contribute, often from home, virtually. It's just amazing. It's one of those stories that is happening all throughout the city, but there's a lot of people that rely on our services and find a lot of strong sense of community, and has just really appreciated all the work you do. So on behalf of the board of directors, I want to thank everybody, and I look forward to the rest of the AGM. I'm going to pass it over to Lisa, who's one of our great executive directors, and one of the captains that makes this ship run as smoothly as it does.
Hi, everyone. Hold on a sec as I pull up my notes. It's hard to work off a laptop here, as I'm sure we're all used to that. So I just wanted to say good evening, everyone. I'm Lisa Kindry, the co-executive director of Youth Central. Penny Hume, Youth Central's other executive director, is also on this meeting tonight. So this report is on behalf of both of us. A benefit of this virtual AGM is being able to welcome Youth Central friends and supporters from across the country and beyond. So thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. 2020 was definitely a year of challenges, learnings, and opportunities for Youth Central. When COVID hit last year, we quickly realized programming needed to shift to online. Our youth volunteer committees jumped into action to make the necessary program changes, and some events had to be adjusted or unfortunately canceled. The Youth Volunteer Corps program shifted to virtual volunteer projects. These virtual projects were very successful and gave Youth Central the opportunity to try out virtual volunteering as a new type of programming option. So this is something that we will be continuing to offer. In fact, we actually received the Virtual Project of the Year Award from the Youth Volunteer Corps headquarters in the United States. We were recognized for the most creative virtual project across all of the affiliates throughout the network. You will learn more about our virtual volunteering a little bit later in the AGM. Even in a year of change, 14 of our youth volunteers won the 101 award from the Youth Volunteer Corps. This award is given to youth who dedicate 100 hours of service to their community in the span of 1 year. On top of that, 4 volunteers won the Ethic of Service Award. This award is given to youth who have served at least 500 hours with the Youth Volunteer Corps over their career. Also, as part of our volunteer engagement initiative, which is supported by the Government of Canada under the Canada Service Corps, over 38 youth have given at least 120 hours of meaningful service to the community since early 2019. We are so proud of these extraordinary youth who reached these special milestones before even turning the age of 18. Our Youth of Distinction Awards went virtual. We had to figure out how to ensure this event still had a celebratory feel for the youth finalists. Usually this event is a gathering of over 200 people at the zoo, complete with food and entertainment. The youth on the planning committee rose to the challenge really quickly. With the help of some surprise celebrity guests and youth speakers, we believe the online Youth of Distinction Awards still hit the mark in all the ways that mattered the most. During the spring, many of our youth felt it was important to have their voices heard around social and racial justice issues. Youth Central used our social media and online platforms to provide this empowering and important opportunity. The youth planned several online events, including debates, poetry reading, webinars, privilege exercises, and blog posts. Youth Central welcomed the opportunity to look inward at our own diversity. We were encouraged to think about how we can do better, as well as what Youth Central can do to further amplify the voices of our youth in a safe and meaningful way. After a lot of research, planning, and conversations with our board of directors, the Risk Management Committee last summer, we were able to offer some in-person volunteer projects once again. Youth Central created in-depth safety protocols and ensured we met all government restrictions and recommendations. A really big thank you goes out to our team leaders who ensured our volunteers were always safe when volunteering out in the community and that all protocols were followed. Thank you. In late 2019, Youth Central adopted the Cinderella Project, who was seeking a new home. The Cinderella program encourages students to graduate from high school, and in return, they receive a dress to attend their formal graduation ceremony. Many of the students who receive dresses have overcome many challenges in their lives in order to graduate. We wanted to celebrate their accomplishments and felt it was an important and empowering program that Youth Central is really proud to be a part of. Unfortunately, the event planned for March 2020 was canceled due to COVID, and we are now in the process of planning for all possible scenarios this year. As Matt Grant already commented on, Youth Central finished the process of developing its 5-year strategic plan and new mission statement. What started out as a traditional strategic planning process quickly turned into so much more. There was a desire from the board and staff to take the organization on a bolder path. While we maintain our current programming, we will also work to strengthen our organization by taking active steps to ensure we are accessible to all youth in Calgary. We will seek to identify and reduce barriers that may discourage some youth from participating in our program. And we will also focus on building new partnerships to achieve this. We've seen the impact that our work has on the current youth participants, and we look forward to making our programming even more inclusive for all youth in Calgary. In 2020, we were thrilled to develop a new mission to guide the organization, empowering youth to find and build their communities. Youth Central is more than a youth volunteering and leadership organization. We play an important role in supporting youth to connect to their community and build positive and new relationships. On behalf of Penny and myself, there are many thank yous that we need to give. So to start off, we would like to thank the Youth Central staff team. There is no one we would have rather faced 2020 with. Thank you for rising to the challenges, quickly adjusting programs and events, and ensuring our youth were safe and supported. The mental health of our youth was always top of mind, and we know the staff went the extra mile to provide support or a chance just to chat if needed. An extra big thank you goes to Roz, Youth Central's program director, for her ability to manage and support her staff from afar, as well as ensuring all programs met the needs of our volunteers and community partners. I also want to add that Roz celebrated her 15th work anniversary with us this month. Thank you, Roz. I also want to give a big thank you to our funders who continue to generously support Youth Central through 2020. Thank you for standing by us and continuing to give to programs even though they looked a little bit different. It means so much to know we have your support. Thank you to our community partners who worked with us to adjust volunteer projects and understood when we had to cancel due to COVID. We also want to take this opportunity to thank our school partners for their dedication to supporting student learning. And thank you to Youth Central's board of directors who spent many extra hours helping us develop new policies and protocols to keep our youth and staff safe and healthy. We knew you were there if we needed to discuss programming changes and supported our decision to keep all of our staff safe and allow them to work from home. Thank you for your leadership and dedication. Last but not least, I want to give a big thank you to Zahad Gill for emceeing tonight. Thank you for doing a great job, and hopefully we'll keep this event running smoothly. To learn more about what Youth Central was up to last year, check out our annual report, and it's available online on our website. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Lisa. As you all know, we promised some interactive components for the annual general meeting, and it's our first chance to do that. We're going to bring up a poll question, and you as the audience will have a chance to answer. So our first poll question of the evening is, did you volunteer when you were under 18 years of age? Wow, it's really great to see how many of you are really involved in your communities from a young age. With 76% of you being youth volunteers, that's such an amazing thing to see in the community. And it also speaks to the importance of Youth Central and how they're empowering youth volunteerism. Thank you everybody who voted in our poll. On to the next agenda item of the meeting. We want to share a video with you all to showcase some of the virtual volunteering Youth Central's Youth Volunteer Corps program has adapted to during 2020. Let's check it out.
Video for Youth Central. Boom! Good afternoon. My name is Georgia Zebak, and I have been a part of Youth Volunteer Corps and Youth Central since August 2020. Originally, I joined Youth Central to book up some summer plans and meet new youth with similar passions to me, as all of my other volunteer commitments were not able to function. I can confidently say that I have no regrets doing both in-person and virtual projects with Youth Central. Initially, the idea of doing a virtual project seemed super weird. I thought that the definition of volunteering was committing to a certain time frame every week, directly helping people in person. However, Youth Central has completely broken that definition for me. I now understand that volunteering isn't just a set thing. Volunteering lies on one principle: being a part of something bigger than yourself and learning to give back. Through these virtual volunteer projects, not only has my view of volunteering changed and my definition of what volunteering is, I have learned so many new things and picked up so many new skills that I wouldn't have expected to pick up virtually. First, I have connected to others. I have been able to make connections to new people from all around Youth Central, which expands my network even more. Second, the team leaders are really good at breaking the ice, so the project seemed fun and stress-free. In conclusion, I am extremely grateful that I made the decision to join Youth Central, and the skills and experiences I've acquired through virtual projects will stick with me forever. I am super grateful and honored to be speaking to you today, and I cannot wait to continue to give back to the community over the holiday season virtually.
Hi, this is Coco from MPC Foundation. So thank you very much for the invite to Youth Central, and it was a pleasure to work with you guys because with our Tech Buddy program, we need a lot of volunteers to help us in teaching seniors how to use their phones, their tablets, their iPad, and things like that. So I really appreciate you guys to be able to find me some volunteers to help us deliver this program virtually, because it hasn't been easy helping seniors with technology because they're afraid of it, they're not being confident about technology, about new things. So even let's say if you tell them to press the home button, it takes a lot of courage for them. However, our volunteers are able to do that, are able to support our seniors during this pandemic, during this time, and our seniors just love them so much and would love them to be back in our every classes. So I really appreciate Youth Central for your help in finding volunteers for us at MPC Foundation. Thank you.
What a great testament to our resiliency. And a great big thank you to Georgia and Coco for their amazing words in the video. Now, normally the Youth Central Annual General Meeting would include speeches from some of my fellow volunteers on their experiences with Youth Central and what it's meant to them. In an effort to switch it up to our virtual format this year and to make things more interactive, we created a small panel of youth volunteers who will speak about their volunteer experiences. So please welcome Donnell, Eric, and Ileana. Donnell is a grade 12 student at Ernest Manning High School and a junior editor for Youth Are Awesome and a member of our Mayor's Youth Council. Donnell was a key organizer for Youth Are Awesome's efforts this past year to address racial inequality through a series of webinars and activities. Ileana is a grade 12 student at Central Memorial High School. She's been a member of YVC's steering committee since grade 10 and has also joined Youth Are Awesome and the Mayor's Youth Council while volunteering in the community with YVC. Outside of volunteering, work, and school, you can find her sleeping on Calgary Transit. Eric is a grade 11 student at Sir Winston Churchill. He's a member of the Mayor's Youth Council. Last year helped to plan our Youth of Distinction Awards virtual ceremony and is a public speaker extraordinaire. In addition to volunteering with Youth Central, Eric is also a volunteer with the Distress Center. The format of this panel will be questions directed to all participants, and each will have 2 minutes to answer. If you, the audience, have questions, please feel free to type them into the chat, and we will do our best to pick a couple and answer them as well. To start us off, let's begin with a pre-selected question. The first one being, what has been the most impactful experience with Youth Central?
I mean, that's a really tough question because there are so many important experiences that I've had with Youth Central. But I guess if I were to distill it down to one thing, I'd say the people for sure. Just meeting everyone that volunteers with Youth Central, as well with the staff at Youth Central. They're such amazing people, and I remember distinctly having really unique conversations about whether we should lower the voting age to 16 or just playing with Penny's dog or things along that. So for sure, the people are the number one most important experience for me.
Well, I definitely agree with all that Eric has talked about in terms of the people. And I think for my most impactful moment or experience, the support and assistance that I got from not just the people around me, but from Roz and from Danny was so impactful. And it really changed the trajectory of how I perceived the event to go. As Azad said earlier, I was a part of the organization for the Youth Create Change initiative for our Black Lives Matter response. And I found that it was personally extremely important to me because I had dedicated a lot of my time to Youth Central and volunteerism. And I found that a response to this type of event was extremely important and necessary to show other students, volunteers within our organization that we have a voice and we have a say in society and all that incorporates society. So it was a really big, important factor for me for us to be involved in this initiative in some form. And we organized a series of webinars and a bunch of things that we discussed earlier. But I really appreciated the
the amount of effort and research and insight that Roz and Danny were able to incorporate into our event, it really made an extreme amount. It really had a great impact on the events that we were able to give, as well as the response from other people. We were able to gather a series of youth volunteers and youth speakers who were insightful and educated, and it was a really enriching experience. So I'd say that that was my most impactful for sure.
Yeah, I think along the same lines for me, I've been a part of YVC steering committee for 2.5 years now, so since grade 10. And along the same lines as Eric, I think that for me, my most impactful moment, I've done a lot of volunteering, but I think the project that probably sticks with me the most is CN Lock, because when I did that in February of grade 10, I had just gotten used to being on YVC steering committee. And I just remember, well, first, that was like the first time I'd ever seen Nenshi in person, Mr. Mayor Nenshi. And I'm pretty sure a lot of volunteers can attest, like you see Mayor Nenshi a lot, but I was like, whoa. And then that night I had like a lot of my peers on YVC steering committee with me. And I just like had such a great time that I was like coming home and on the train actually. And I was thinking about that night, and I was like so warm, and I just felt so welcomed by like my community and by the Youth Central volunteers that and I'm glad to say that like it hasn't changed in 2 years. I still feel the same adoration for my peers and my fellow volunteers.
Awesome, great answers, everyone. For those of you who are trying to submit a question, all you need to do on the Zoom function is just at the bottom where your touch bar is, there's the Q&A button, and all questions can be asked there. So we have a question from Sylvia, and the question is, what advice would you give to new volunteers that have never volunteered before?
I think that my number one piece of advice for volunteers is join a committee, because, sorry, that's my dog. Join a committee because I initially joined Youth Central just because a friend told me to, and the same friend broke her leg. We were supposed to do 2 weeks of camp together, but she broke her leg in the first week. And so we didn't end up volunteering together. And then she said, join YVC steering committee with me. We're going to have so much fun. She didn't end up on YVC steering committee, but I did. And I really fell in love with the program through YVC steering committee because it just gives you that much more opportunity to get to know your peers and really get to know the folks at Youth Central office and all the different opportunities that are happening around Youth Central and around Calgary, really. And of course, I'm partial to YVC steering committee, but I would just encourage anyone to join any committee with Youth Central, because I'm sure my fellow panelists can agree that there is like a really strong sense of community wherever you go and whatever committee you join, even if you're just community volunteer. But yeah.
Oh, okay. I would say my biggest advice would be to explore something and to try something new. When I first started at Youth Central, I applied to be with the Youth Are Awesome website. And before that, I barely wrote an essay, and I could barely carry myself properly or formally in terms of writing, but I decided to join it anyway. And I've been involved with YAA for all 3 years of high school, and it's been an amazing experience. I've grown in my writing, and there's a collaborative feeling like Ileana was talking about, that there's a sense of community, a sense of leadership, and a sense of accountability towards other bloggers and even people in other committees as well. So definitely explore the things that you've never tried before, and join a committee for sure. Join a committee.
I think, yeah, I could definitely third that, that what Ileana and Danelle suggested, because When I started volunteering in grade 9, but I also joined the Mayor's Youth Council that year as well. Or did I start in grade 8? I'm pretty sure I started in grade 9. But I also joined the Mayor's Youth Council, and at the time I was like one of the youngest kids on the council. And I think like for new volunteers especially, they might find it really hard to share their ideas, or they might feel that like they're too inexperienced, young, and I'd say like to heck with that. Like go ahead and share ideas, because everyone there is like the most kind and like the most insightful people that you'll ever meet. And like even if I was like even if everyone else was in high school at the time, like I definitely felt part of the community and felt that I had so much to contribute as well.
So another round of great answers. We have a question from Shannon. So her question is, what advice would you give to other charities trying to get youth involved in their programming? And what about Youth Central specifically made you interested in joining?
To answer like the second part first, what made me interested in Youth Central, I think it was like at the time, I was kind of bored. Like it was summer and like I didn't have anything to do. And that and contributing to the community, because like I wanted to get a better sense of like belonging and like meaning, because by volunteer, like it feels good. So like I was really excited by all the opportunities that I was able to get. So on the topic of trying to get youth involved in their programs, I think it's one thing that if you offer like that I would look forward to is like a certain degree of like freedom in projects. So if you're doing like a mural on a wall and like you want to invite like youth artists, like definitely like providing that opportunity, but also like giving like that freedom to express and like explore is something that lots of youth look towards when they're like trying out new things and they're learning to build up their skills for the future.
Absolutely. To answer the second question, because that's the one I remember the best, the reason why I got involved is basically I was really sick and tired of my Monday routine. I would go home, I'd go to school first, and then I'd come home and I'd repeat the cycle every day. And my mom encouraged me that really isn't a lifestyle. This is your high school experience. It's supposed to be boisterous. It's supposed to be something that is more than just going to school and coming home. So that's what inspired me to actually go and find something to do. And I fell on Youth Central. And I don't remember anything after that, but that's really how it started for me. And for the second question, I really agree with Eric, is really trying to encourage youth to have a say in whatever project or whatever initiative that they're marketed towards or they're targeted for, and really incorporating their ideas and their perspectives, because I feel like it really enriches anything that you're doing in that aspect. It incorporates a sense of community, and it makes us feel, or them feel, as though they have a say in the things that happen around them. So definitely including youth voice or youth perspective, and encouraging them to do that way.
I think for my response to this second question, I believe, about how to connect youth in programming, for me personally, the thing that kept me coming back to Youth Central and made me so dedicated and passionate about programming was the opportunity to work with others and how truly collaborative it is. And not only in the sense of you're working together, but I think that a lot of us can speak to the fact that we've like really connected and become good friends over the course of program. And so there's that sense of camaraderie that keeps you coming back and returning to programs and getting excited to come to program. And I think that's what separated Youth Central in my mind from a lot of other volunteer opportunities I had been a part of, is that, you know, I wasn't alone. I was working with a team, and not only was it like a team, it was like a family. It was such a close group of peers, and continues to be. So yeah, I think that my advice would be just allow the opportunity for volunteers to connect with each other and build that sense of community, so that they want to keep on returning and they have that sense of drive and friendship that keeps them coming back.
Well, a big thank you so much to all of you guys. We do have one more question for you. And this is, when you first joined Youth Central versus now, what is something that has surprised you?
I think I can answer this by saying I was definitely surprised by my ability to be so comfortable with people I just met. And for me personally, I'm not that type of person to just walk into a room and feel confident. But that is something that my experience at Youth Central has really cultivated in me, the ability to walk into a room and be sure of myself and who I am and add that to the table. And as I mentioned before, when I started at Youth Central or at YAA, I didn't know anyone. I didn't know any volunteers there. So I was going in completely blinded, and I was so welcomed and so appreciated and so accepted into my committee, and it encouraged me to join other committees as well. So really that what I learned is that I can really be comfortable with a group of people I don't even know, but still find connection and meaningful relationships with them.
I think that something that surprised me was the impact that volunteering had on me personally. Just like Donnell, because I don't know, I just feel like the trajectory of my high school experience has been so much different than it would have been if I hadn't joined Youth Central, or if I hadn't signed up for those first 2 weeks of summer camps. And so I'm so grateful. Like, I cannot express how many opportunities have been opened up to me through Youth Central. And I mean, I'm especially grateful for the opportunity to have met so many like-minded youth, and to get to know so many engaged youth who are really passionate about their communities, but also just to have the ability to have a different community distinct from school that I could connect with and that I could get to know, and that there is so many opportunities available to me to get connected to my community. So yeah, I think that that's something that surprised me, is just how big a change it's made in my life. And especially for these past 2.5 years, I'm so grateful. So yeah.
I guess like I didn't know what to expect when I like first joined. So what really blew me away was like the scope of and the impact that the opportunities that we have make in the community. And I guess like the most memorable like bits were having something to look forward to every week, like going to Youth Central and working with my peers and discussing how we can plan the Youth of Distinction Awards online, or when we were planning town halls for city councilors. And also like, it also opened up like different unique opportunities that I didn't expect before, like going to a luncheon with Jason Kenny. And then from there, I was then invited to like a student advisory council with the education minister. So it was just like super cool. And I had no thoughts or I wouldn't have like known that would happen when I first joined the Youth Central.
Well, a very big thank you so much, Ileana, Donnell, and Eric, for your guys' candor and amazing answers to all of these questions. And thank you to the audience for participating and giving us some of your questions as well. Now, next up, we have the long-awaited part of the meeting, the Treasurer's Report. So everyone, please welcome Yisha Pang, Treasurer of Youth Central's Board of Directors.
Thanks for the welcome, Azad. I'm very happy to report that during what was a very difficult year for many organizations, that Youth Central maintains a strong financial position. In 2020, we were able to realize a small surplus of approximately $9,000. This was in part due to our eligibility to receive the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidies, similar to many other small businesses and nonprofits. This was also due in huge part to the tireless efforts of our Youth Central staff team, who endlessly advocate for all of our programs and ensure that we receive the funding needed to execute them, whatever form they took in 2020. To wrap it up on a bit of an adulting note, I'll also just note that we did not have any disagreements on accounting policy or treatment with our auditors, Kramers and Elliott, who are also here as attendees. At this time, I'll ask if there's any other questions on our 2020 audited financial statements, and if not, turn it back to Azad. All right, I think there's no other questions.
Great. Thank you so much, Yisha. All right, time to hear from the audience. Danny, could you please pull up our last poll question of the meeting? The poll question this time will be, what do you think is the most important thing for youth to experience before they leave home or turn 18 in order to become empowered adults? Well, it's great to see that a large amount of you said hands-on personal experience out in the real world. As someone who's turning 18 fairly soon, I can definitely see how this could be beneficial in my future. So thank you everybody who participated in our poll. We will now be moving on to our final video of the evening. The Youth Volunteer Corps was not the only program that had to get creative this year. So did all of our steering committees. So let's see what they were up to. What an amazing way to see everything that Youth Central has done, even in a virtual format. I would like to thank everyone for attending today's annual general meeting. And unless there is any other business, I would like to declare the annual general meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your evening.
Thank you.
you.